So, okay, well, anyway, my point in all of this is that I do notice that breakouts, you do these songwriting breakouts, but one thing I do notice is that actually whenever we do breakouts, not just at our conference, but even at, we did Holland Davis's conference, or the CCA West, it's got like 50 letters in it. What is the actual conference name? Oh, well, that's not as many as I thought. Okay, West Coast Worship Conference. Well, there's CCA and there's all these other things. Anyway, okay, the point is that like at his conference, which is, was I don't know, a few hundred people, 300, 400 people? I don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, I would say my class was 125, 150 people. I normally notice that songwriting classes are a bigger, more popular like class. But I've always wondered why it is that people who come to a worship conference that are musicians or worship leaders, why they don't all want to go to a songwriting class. And the reason why is because songwriting is a huge, pivotal, very important thing for the office of worship leader, in my opinion. Okay? Now, certainly David thought so too. And there's a lot of other ministers in the Bible that we could actually look at, and they probably wrote songs. Sometimes we don't really know, but sing a new song, there's got to be a whole lot of them, okay, because they were demanded these things. So this is something I think in our modern day, we can look at the biblical aspect of it and really go back and try to go, well, I can only name 5 or whatever. So, but we can look at right now in modern day, we have everything at our fingertips to be able to write a song. They had all the reasons why they shouldn't write a song, because maybe they didn't even have things to physically write anything down with, and like there was a lot of reasons why maybe they didn't write songs. So actually, when you think of sing a new song unto him, most of the time, probably back then in Bible times, was actually more like free praise, probably more than it was actually songs written specifically. But now we have no excuse. Anybody, I mean, I'm seriously, like, I could give you, I'm not going to show you these, but my sons, okay, they write on their little iPods songs on GarageBand, okay, that sound really horrible, but also surprisingly sound really good, okay? And you have to understand what I mean. It's like, no, the lyrics aren't good and nothing, the melody's totally off key, but the rest of the instruments sound really great, which is just them going, I want a drums, I want a bass that sounds like Paul McCartney. They don't even know who Paul McCartney is. And they, you just go down the list. Actually, my kids know who Paul McCartney is, and I think that that's cool, okay? But anyway, the point is like, you really can get away with like what you have in your hands or whatever to basically write a song. So now there's no limitations and there's no reason why you can't do it except for what your mind is telling you. Your mind is telling you that either it's not applicable to you, which I'm not like picking on him or anything, or you think somebody else writes better songs than you, then why? So now there's all these like internal issues, which we've been talking about our internal issues all day, and how we need to stop letting our internal issues get in the way, and this last class that Ty was teaching, it was really cool because, all he really did, I mean, he gave you like some really good just ideas of what you can do, and he's just basically saying, do it because you can, that's like, and that's kind of like, I don't know, I think of like whenever I take care of, not take care of my kids, that's like I babysit my kids. That doesn't really work that way. No, when I'm hanging out with my kids at home, okay, and they're like, my kids homeschool, so when they get done with homeschooling, they legitimately for like 3 or 4 hours, until the next thing we're going to do, they don't have anything to do. So they're like, Dad, can I play video games? Or Dad, can I, watch YouTube? I hate YouTube for that reason, because you could literally sit there and watch it for 4 hours and get nothing done. But one thing I do notice is that they have this time. And so one of the things that like that would, when I mean, don't get me wrong, I am a worship leader and I'm a songwriter, okay? So granted, I have that going for me. But if my kids were to spend those 4 hours playing the guitar and singing and writing songs, and they showed me something that they did, it would be like the coolest thing. And I would never grow old, you know? Every time they show it to me, I get excited about it. And I just kind of look at that and I go, God's kind of looking down too, and he's like, he's a creator God. That's what he is. And he's like, with your time, do something with it. Do something with it and use your gifts. And of course, we happen to be musicians and worship leaders, so I'm picking on you when it comes to actually like creating music, okay? Dare I tell you to create music at a worship conference, right? But I would say this to a congregation. I would say this to a lot of people. Go use your gifts, whatever those gifts are. Use your time wisely and do it for the Lord, right? So I'm going to now dive into practical things, but I just wanted to start out with, like, first of all, yes, you should. It is applicable to you. And no, nobody has written such a great song that you don't have a chance to try to write a good song. You know, you can totally do it. Absolutely can do it. And you should do it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to do your song, okay? I might not do your song. I might not think it's, you know, the right song for my church or whatever. So it doesn't mean that your songs have to be songs that are used everywhere. It doesn't even mean that your song has to ever leave your bedroom. You know, it's interesting. We, like, a couple days ago, I had a couple of our worship leaders in my office, and they... I just, it's so cool to see how our church has shifted when it comes to songwriting. Like, I feel like everybody's writing songs now. It's like happening all of the time, which is super cool. And they all come into my office and they want to show me their next song. And then they ask me, they say, so Brandon, do you have a song to show me? Because they know me as somebody who brings songs to the table. But honestly, like, all of my songs right now are personal songs. And they're all things that I sing in my own personal prayer time with God. And I actually don't want to share any of them, you know? And that's okay. So that's my point, is like, we all can have those as well. But this is part of, as I was saying, the word to get to know God or allow God to get to know you, is you need to share your heart. And if you are a musician, if you are an artist, that means you need to play unto the Lord. You need to sing unto the Lord. And, you know, that means sing a new song, you know, share, you know, like I said, it doesn't even have to be a song that anybody will ever hear. So that's just more of like, maybe that's kind of mean to like point at you and go, you need to do it, but you really do. And really, it's okay that nobody ever hears it. You just need to do it for your own personal health. You really do. I actually want to hear, let's see here. Zach, before I came, you hadn't written a worship song. When was the last time you wrote a song from the first time I encouraged you to write a song? Okay. Okay. And when you wrote your first song, which was what? Is it one that we recorded? Yeah, We Long for You, which is crazy that the first one that we wrote, we actually recorded. But I don't want to like dive only into feelings, but seriously, like after you actually poured out a song and wrote a song, what was that like to write a song for the Lord, sort of kind of for the first time, at least in a very long time? As a worship leader, you're a worship leader.
It was, well, I'll say this, I felt like I was just giving back to the Lord what was His in a sense. Like, I don't feel like there's a lot of ownership of it. Like, I was writing this song that I felt like God was just kind of telling me to write down. The neat process of it is, I don't feel like these were my creative genius.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The Lord was giving me something, and so it was kind of neat to have God show me something.
Yeah. Okay, so in some ways, He's hearing from the Lord and He's documenting what the Lord's saying. How many of us want to do that? I mean, serious. Even if it isn't a song, like I think all of us would dream to be able to, what, God? What's that? Awesome. You know, I think all of us would want to do that, right? So I think that's one thing. You know, I'll just kind of go with this for a few moments too. Anybody else that wants to share your experience of the first song you wrote about God, to God, personal prayer, anything outside of writing it to your boyfriend or girlfriend? Okay? Anybody wants to share what it was like to finally get the first song done? Okay?
It was an interesting thing for me where the only song that really resonated came about a week after I watched Mel Gibson's movie about the Passion. And I went with my wife. I went fully expecting to have a better understanding of what Jesus did.
Yeah.
And instead it came back saying, I am so shallow. I could have been there,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't have got it.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to talk about it at all. So then you spend a week with that all inside, and what came out was a song.
That's cool.
To just reach a point where I'm so grateful to him that he paid that price for me, but it's a price that I'll never understand.
Yeah. That's
And
good.
really, the cross was a conversation between the Father and the Son that I benefit from. It's not something that I'll ever, okay, got that figured out, let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to wrap that up into something like when you're wrestling, okay? In my wrestling, in my doubt. I think about that and I go, wrestling. Like, how many of us were wrestling with things that God's telling us, or that we're reading, or that we're experiencing in the world, or your family's falling apart, or somebody died in your family and you're wrestling with why would God allow that to happen, or whatever. I'm giving you lots of scenarios, but fill in your own scenario, and then you're able to wrestle with it. And what comes out is not just tears, or not just anger, or not just, I don't know, but you get something that was created, and you get to look back at that thing, even if nobody else does. You get to look back and you get to go, that had victory, not because you wrote the song, but you get to document what God did in your life, And so it's even in your wrestling, it's important to get that done. I know, Gabe, you've got to give me a good one. Come on. Think about it. Somebody else raised their hand, though. Somebody else did. I saw it. You? Do you want to share? Yeah.
First time I actually finished a song, it was just simply the first few verses of Psalm 57.
Yeah.
And it was just during a time, I had a small coffee problem. My heart stopped. And I was kind of in that recovery phase.
I remember this.
Yeah. I was just sitting upstairs in our house, and my head was killing me because just coming down off all that caffeine and everything. And, I just started playing. All I wanted to do was sing the songs. That's all I wanted to do, and that was that moment. I just sang the songs between myself and the Lord, and that was the first time I actually ever finished writing a song. That was, oh my goodness.
Okay, so another positive. Let's wrap this in to this. You're learning Scripture. Not only learning Scripture, what does it say in the Word? It says to write it on your heart, right? How much more could you write it on your heart than to digest it and put it into something you've created? It's now written into something that you have helped be a part of it, right? I'm mentioning all this because I actually have a really good reason. But Gabe, please give me a good one. Don't make it up.
There's two things that came to mind. One was like that I started. What made me want to start writing music was that I went to a church service one time with a friend that I knew, and he said, "I'm going to sing you a song that I wrote," and it was about John 1:1, and he said, and the word he just took the words of the Bible and just put music to it, like didn't alter it, and it sounded so good. And I remember just wanting to write out of pure jealousy. I was like, if he can do that, but I mean, I can do it.
Yeah.
And then when I started trying to do it, I realized how hard it was. And what I was writing didn't sound very good. And so it made me work harder at how did we do that? He made it look effortless. He made it look so easy. And then the second thing I was going to say is I do remember I was at YWAM and I wrote a song for our congregation, our congregation, and I'd written like a couple ones, and they were okay, but I wrote one, and I thought it was okay, but that's the one that everybody started to sing, and people connected with it, and it was the first song where it was no longer my song, it became everybody else's song that they liked,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember going, that's a very humble, like that became very humble.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
it started as probably like a petty, like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Realize how hard it is.
So I can use both of those for different ones, okay? The first one is going to be that it was not just jealousy, but what was the last thing you said about it? The second thing, not jealousy, but then you realized how hard it was. Okay, one thing that I say this actually a lot, at conferences especially, is honestly, to learn how to write a song, all it does is it makes you realize, like, you start to look at all of the other songs that you're singing that are done by somebody else, and not that you dissect it in a bad way, but you start realizing, oh, that's why that's written. Oh, that's why that's written. And you start realizing that these songs have more than just a really great melody and something catchy to sing. And I know that most of you guys are probably not in that boat, but I was. So, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, there's definitely some songs in the beginning of my worship leading that I just really liked the melody of the song, and the lyrics weren't all that, it just wasn't doing that much for me necessarily, but everybody liked it. Everybody connected with it. A good example is Our God is Greater. That song, I didn't like that song. I didn't like it melodically. I don't know. I just thought it was lame. That was just my opinion. I never wanted to do it, and then I did this like youth kind of rally thing, and the church told me, when you tour, you sometimes just get told what you're going to do. You don't really get a choice. And the guy says, well, you can do whatever you want as long as you do Our God is Greater. And I was like, it had been a year and a half since that song had been out, and I had successfully not led it at that point, okay? I was doing everything I could not to lead that song. And it was purely out of stupidity, really. I didn't like it, okay? Anyway, that song is awesome. Lyrically, it's really great, and I sang it, and everybody connected, and God showed me some really great lyrics in there, and I realized, it's not about me, okay, which stinks because it's always like that. Always reminding myself that the keys that I sing in is not about me, as Steve has many times mentioned very kindly. But anyway, so the reality is, like, I needed that. I needed that experience for me to realize that, that song was masterfully written, and there's a reason why it's connecting with people, and I should do it. And I've actually done it many, many times since that time. And then the second one you said was, what was the second one again?
I wrote a song that people connected with.
Oh, yeah, okay. And that was another thing, too, is you start realizing that, what ones are the ones that are going to connect and which ones are not when you have skin in the game, like when you're actually doing it and you're trying. And, that's why a lot of, you'd be surprised how many preachers out there actually just get a message from some higher denominational person and they just teach that message. But we have quite a few senior pastors here. When you actually have to teach that message yourself, the applications change to some, not maybe fully, but to your people specifically. There's something that connects not only with you, but it connects with them, and you realize like this is a big deal. You can't screw this up, And it's the same thing with songs. It's like there are songs that have bad theology. There really are. And I don't tend to sing them very often, hopefully. But there are a lot of churches that do, and it's just purely because it's really cool and it's on the radio, and it might connect, but, this matters. What we're singing matters. Actually, so many times I've heard this, that people walk away with the songs memorized in their heart and their head, in their memory, way more than they're going to remember the scripture that the message is taught. And there's some crazy statistic out there that, like, whatever, it's like, 5% of your church remembers the message you taught, but the rest of them remember the music, or whatever it is. I don't remember. I made that up completely. But you can find something that's similar to that, okay? Anyway, so now let's get into practical. So I do teach this way of doing of writing songs. I talk about 5 things, okay, that makes a song. So we're gonna like breeze through that because I know some of you guys have been in my class and I can really like focus a long time on these, but I'm not going to because I have something else in mind. But since a lot of you have not, let's just talk about this. There are 5 elements that make a song. 3 of them are actually the legal, like when you get your song copywritten, this is what they're looking for. And then the other 2 are, in my opinion, they're just as valuable as the other 3, okay? And so I call them, they're my 5 elements of a song. So, 1, what do you guys think it is? Melody. But have you been in my class? Okay, good job. Anyway, so melody, I know we're going to breeze through this, and this is fine. So melody is one of them, yes? It's another one. Lyrics, another one. Well, progression, but it's interesting what they call it. No, it's interesting what they call it, though. Think about it. Progression. What wraps around melody to actually make, what does your progression do to your melody? Yes, it creates harmony, okay? And that's important because you can actually have this. The reason why these 3 are the legal ones is because you can have the same lyric to some degree. It's like 10 words or 7 words. Do you know exactly what it is, Holland? What is it? You said? 7 words, okay. You can have 7 words, exactly the same words. You can actually technically have them sung along to the same melody, but you have a different harmony around it, and you're still not cheating the system, okay? And actually, we experienced that in 2 of Gabe's songs today. We got, oh, precious is the flow, not the 7. They broke rules on this one, okay? But it's a classic song, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, but then he goes, I am washed, I am drenched in love, or whatever it is. Is that what it is, or something like that? So we sang something that everybody kind of knew, but then it changed on us, okay? But like legally, if it's a song that has been written since 1930 something or other, then you technically can't do that with more than 7 words to the same melody, but you have to have different harmony. Or you have to have the 7 words, different harmony, or the same harmony, so the same chord progression, but different melody. So that's why that matters. It's good to know that actually matters, okay? So now let's just skip ahead. Let's just go right ahead. And by the way, not only are these like the legal things that I want you to know, but actually they all truly change how you write a song depending on which one you're focusing on first. You know, technically your melody, if you're writing a melody first and you don't have any harmony and you don't have any lyrics, you're going to actually find yourself writing a specific group of words more than you're going to if you were to change the harmony around it. So like if you added an A minor, let's say does anybody know the number system? Does everybody know the number system? 1 person, 3 person, 4. Okay, I'm not going to go into the number system. Okay, so we have C, okay? We have A minor, we have F, we have G. Standard chord progression. That is a 1, a 6 minor, a 4, and a 5, okay? I'm not going to say that again, but you guys will learn it tomorrow. The C, if I were to write, let me grab a guitar. This is better. Let me do that.
You want to do it on the mic, Fred?
No, it's fine. They can hear me.
Okay.
Right? What's your guitar tuned to? Normal? Yeah. Let me just pull up a song or something. Psalm 5. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. Give heed to the voice of my cry, my King and my God. It's 4 lines. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. Okay, if I were to go, give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. It's kind of happy sounding, right? Or I can go, give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. Okay, first of all, I've already noticed that I like singing the word meditation over A minor better than I like singing C. Because it's a little bit more like introspective. There's something about that. So in my choice, I would go, I kind of like the A minor better. But maybe I would go, give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. And by the way, I went down. Okay, consider my meditation. Okay, there's something about like minor chords that tend to kind of like make you want to sink in deeper, sort of melodically. And you'll notice when you start hearing, you've never thought about this before, and now you're going to be mad that you're thinking about it all the time. So anyway, that gives you an idea. I'm going to do more of this in a minute, but I don't need that.
You only have 15 minutes.
Lovely. Only 15 minutes. Okay, so let's skip right into 4 and 5. Okay, so the 3 are the legal, 4 and 5 are not the legal, but I think that they're equally as important. And you guys are going to throw out a bunch of ideas. I think you should. And then I am going to actually show you that almost all of these things you're throwing out there fit in these 5 somehow. So why don't you guys try to guess what 4 and 5 is? Start giving some ideas. Yes.
Theological.
No.
Okay.
Tempo.
I mean, that's good for Christian songs,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah.
Say tempo.
That goes into lyric.
Oh.
Tempo, that goes into one of mine. Okay.
Time signature.
Time signature, okay, goes into one of mine. Sort of. What?
Rhythm.
Yeah, rhythm is it. And I choose rhythm over tempo or time signature because you can have the same tempo and change the rhythm. You can have a different time signature and you can have almost the same rhythm. It's because there's, so rhythm is actually the heartbeat of the song more than it is actually like time signature and the tempo, because we all know we can play. Trust me, if you have a drummer that doesn't play with the click, he's played a song in the wrong tempo before, okay? It's possible to do. So, I looked at him, but I wasn't meaning you.
Very possible.
Okay, so we just figured out rhythm. Okay, what's another one? What's the 5th one?
Heart.
Heart. Okay.
Stealing from Captain Planet.
Heart and mood, they kind of fit. This one's a tricky one. Keep on going.
Theme.
Theme goes into lyrics.
Tone.
Tone goes into the one that we haven't touched. But it also can go to harmony. Tone is harmony. But it also depends on what you mean by tone. Anyway, keep on going. Key.
Feeling.
That's kind of melody and kind of harmony, But it kind of, feeling, okay, that fits in my 5th one.
Spirit.
Spirit. Okay, I mean, it's like the heart thing. I don't know. Spirit, that's Jesus songs. We're talking about songs in general, although I'm talking about God. But let's try one more. What?
Theme.
Theme? Yeah, we already did theme. That's in lyrics. The 5th one is the one that nobody remembers, or not remembers, but nobody actually chooses. What?
Form.
No. It's dynamic. Okay? And the reason why I choose dynamic out of all of these ones is because the way that you, actually when you're writing a song, you're going to change, and you change your dynamics, it is actually going to change your mood. It could change the tone. What are some of the other ones I heard? There's a lot of them. Anyway, you can change the feeling. But you can change the feeling with a difference of harmony, with the difference of dynamic, okay? And so, okay, so here's a good example for dynamics, okay? So we'll just do the everlasting God. Strength arises, we wait upon the Lord, as we wait upon the Lord, as we wait upon the Lord. Okay, first things first. I'm going strength arise, so I'm going strength arise. So I'm definitely very clearly saying strength, okay? And that they really wanted the first word of that verse to be like kind of everything about the song in a lot of ways. Okay, not every song does this, but this one is written that way. So strength arises, we wait upon the Lord, as we wait upon the Lord, as we wait. What's another theme that they wanted to have in this song? It's going to be they want you to be waiting on the strength of the Lord. Okay? So, some of the stuff in between, it matters, but you could just go, strength, waiting on the Lord, oh, I'm waiting on the Lord. It kind of could work, okay? So that's just kind of keep that in mind. There's some stuff that's happening there. Strength arises, we wait upon the Lord, as we wait upon the Lord, as we wait upon the Lord our God. Where did I go with dynamics right there? This is what I can tell you. I know for a fact when he wrote the song, he did not do this. Strength arises, we wait upon the Lord, as we wait upon the Lord, as we wait upon the Lord our God. You reign forever. You know, he didn't do that. He went, our God, you reign forever. He made that huge when it comes to the dynamics. And on top of it, if you notice, the melody goes up. So I go, strength arise, and I go, our God. That's the first time it goes, you reign forever. We're talking about big concepts here. We're talking about reigning forever, right? So those are dynamics, right? So also too, you know, you can think of the harmony side of this too, and he's really keeping the tension. He doesn't want you to, like, this is not the end of the song. This is clearly the pre-chorus, okay? And that's because he goes, our God, you reign forever. That doesn't sound like the chorus. Our hope, it doesn't resolve. It doesn't ever end anything. Ramping up, we're going somewhere. You are the everlasting God, right? Okay. Now, he does go down a little bit in the chorus, and I get that, but you get what I'm saying. There's this dynamic ramp that happens so that we can hit the chorus. So here's a few things that you could write down if you'd like. First of all, find the heartbeat of the song. So that means it's not just your tempo, not just whatever. It's going to have something to do with the theme, or it's going to have something to do with like the feeling. Like when me and Gabe wrote that song we played last night, was it last night? One thing is that we could not, I think we even found a way to loop this. And we put down the guitar, and we just kind of walked around the room trying to like think of lyrics, looking like crazy people, I'm sure. But we did, and that's because we had found, even though this seems so simple, right? But we had found like everything about the song, we wanted it to be like kind of like a march, you know. And I'm alive and I won't be new. When I move, all my strength, you know. I never do. I don't know until Gabe starts singing it.
When we
But
get together, you tend to not remember the lyrics that I wrote, and I tend to not remember.
yes. I don't know why it works out, but I always sing whatever lyrics he wrote, and then he always sings the lyrics I wrote, and I can never remember his words. But anyway, so the point is, though, is that we had found the heartbeat of the song. That doesn't mean the heartbeat's going to be the beginning of the song like that one, but it will kind of give you an idea. Once you kind of have, that's like the mood. It's like, I want this song to be celebratory. I want it to be a march. I want it to be something that's going to just, like, elevate who God is and what He's done for me, right? So come up with some kind of like whether it is, sometimes it's actually just a lyrical theme. Like sometimes it's like, you know, brokenness. And you're not going to go, I'm broken, yes I am. You're not going to do that, right? Instantly. What? Yes. Yes, you have a question?
I think a perfect example of what you're describing, it was last year at the Pastors Conference. You finished with a song that you had started about the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. It was so fitting for the occasion.
Oh, thanks.
And I thought that, you know, for you to come up with that all of a sudden, obviously it came from feelings, it came from emotions, it came from things that were going on there.
I mean, actually, that song specifically, God downloaded it in the middle of the night before. I mean, we had done the conference. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, on my phone, of course. I wasn't typing, and I wrote out all the words, and we literally sang it verbatim. I hadn't even picked up the guitar until I played. It was like I had to do this. Okay, I think we got it. Let's do this. That's how I had to do it. The fact that it was good at all is surprising, honestly.
Have you played it since?
Yes, we're going to do it tonight. We'll do it tonight. Right? We're going to do it tonight?
It's good tonight.
Sure, we'll do it tonight. But anyway, so a few more things to write, and I know we got to be done. So feel free during the question and answer if you have more questions for songwriting, you can ask. And also, just find me. I'll be walking around. Find the heartbeat of the song, and that can be a lot of things. If you have a theme, stick to it. Okay? Like I'll go with that brokenness thing again. Okay? Or no, let's not go with brokenness. Let's just go with the cross. Okay? Your theme is the cross. Stick with it. And what I mean by that is like you don't have to go into how he created, you know, the heavens and the earth and you know how Job got beat up and he was like the worst thing. And then the chorus talks about the cross. You don't have to do that. I know that there are songs that break this rule, and I think because it's all biblical, we're Christians, we're going to sing it. And we're like, yeah, awesome. But really great songs that are written really, really masterfully are very clear on what their theme is throughout the whole song. And so stick with your theme. Don't break the theme. And then also another one is resolve. Okay? And I know this is super quick and I'm just throwing out these things, but resolve. Don't, like, tension is okay, but really tension should be like the breaking of the rule. Like you're like, wow, I love this tension here. It shouldn't be that every part of your song has tension, because then you'll never be able to finish the song, A, and then B, it's like the resolve is kind of what allows the parts to end the right way and everything. So resolve, okay? And then I'm just going to give you a few different verse, stanzas, okay, for verses. I'm going to give you a 4 of the most popular ones, and so if you really have never written a song and you don't know where to begin, here you go, okay? A, B, A, okay? All that means is that you're writing something, that thing rhymes with this thing, that thing also rhymes with the same, A, B, A. So this thing, this rhymes with it, this doesn't, this goes back and rhymes with the first thing, okay? Or the second thing, or both, okay? A, B, the most simplest, most people write in this. It also can sound a little cheesy, okay? But this, then rhyme with the first, then rhyme with the second, okay? Most children's songs have that stanza, okay? There are actually a lot of hymns that have that as well. And then there's a lot of hymns that are like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and there's no rhyme at all. And then there is A, B, okay? That seems to be a lot of like kind of popular worship songs recently, is where you kind of like generally rhyme the first 3 and then that last one is like a tag or something, okay? And then there's A, B, C, A. So you start with a line, then you go B, you can do whatever you want. C, you can do whatever you want. And then A, you rhyme back with, or you can say the same exact thing as the first line, okay? So there's that. One last thing. Can I do one last thing?
Do one last thing.
I'm really totally trying to give them something to walk away with. So chorus is king. Just write these things down, and if you have any questions later on, ask me. Chorus is king. Verse is the journey to the king. Okay? A pre-chorus is the bridge. And don't be confused with the fact that we're going to say bridge. Pre-chorus is the bridge from some part of the journey, but you did not quite get to the king, so instead you take the bridge to get to the king, so that you can go back over the bridge and continue the journey to hopefully make it around back town to the king. Okay?
Well said.
Okay?
Who's the fish?
And then,
Write that down.
Yes. I actually wrote down pre-chorus is the bridge from the some part of the journey to the king. Okay? But my longer explanation was probably better. And then bridge is what you brought to the king. Okay? It's the gift you're bringing to the king. Or it is the elevation of the king. So you've already said the chorus many times, or you've already you've explained what you're wanting to say about the king, then you've said the king, and then all of a sudden you're like, but the king is way cooler. And here we go, here's the bridge. So that's kind of the idea. Hopefully you can walk away with something good from that. So, awesome guys, thanks.